Welcome back to talknorth.com. Thank you for listening. If you can, please download before you listen. It helps our business. I'd also like to thank our producer, Brandon Morton, and let you know if you'd like to sponsor this program or any of the programs on the network, you can reach me at jsouhan47@gmail.com.
You're listening to the Strom Sports Show.
It's good to have you with us today, and it's great to be here live in New Jersey. You're listening to the Strom Sports Show. Steven Strom talking Minnesota sports with you on the talknorth.com podcast network, produced by Brandon Morton. All shows are posted onto our Twitter account at talknorthpod, iHeartRadio, iTunes. And if you want to advertise with us, contact Jim Souhan on our website. Remember, we're looking for those downloads. Now, I've got a special guest today to start the show, former men's head basketball coach at Portland University and now the assistant at Georgia Tech. He coached Timberwolves first-round draft pick Josh Okogie, and it's a privilege to have Coach Eric Reveno on today. Coach, how are you? Thanks for giving me the time.
Doing great. I'm looking out my window here on campus, and it's move-in day, so we got a lot of freshman parents and coming in, and a lot of excitement on campus, but always love talking about Josh, so glad to be on.
Great. So let's begin with this. Josh was a 3-star prospect that really wasn't even rated in the top 19 in his state his senior year by ESPN. He's been forced to have a chip on his shoulder since a young age, obviously. Talk about how that helped him in college and will help him in the NBA.
You know, we talk about it, and the last 6 months we've talked about it a ton. Just how, this lack of, we talk now a lot about guys' entitlement. He's the anti-entitlement. He's the guy that, got to Georgia Tech and there were doubters of him. We get guys that come to Georgia Tech in the ACC and, think they've arrived. It's just sort of entitlement can seep into all of us.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't have that. He's a hard worker. In my 20-plus years of coaching at Stanford and University of Portland, I've never had a student athlete that worked and was focused on leading his team and doing what's best for the team, and trying to be the best he can be as much as Josh. And the leadership piece, I'd like to say, was interesting because it's not like he's a carrot. He's a natural, I have to lead type guy. He just felt it was a responsibility, so he did it. So it's all about that being just good enough to create the opportunity, but not so good that he's entitled, created that chip on his shoulder that he's taken advantage of.
Now talk about his work ethic and character and how he developed himself into a top 20 pick in just 2 years at Georgia Tech.
We came on campus. Coach Gregory's staff here at Georgia Tech recruited him, and they saw, really a difference maker. And we talk about difference makers, that guys that could make a difference, but that no one else saw. And so give them credit. We as a new staff with Coach Passner as the head coach, we came on staff, and right away we're summer workouts. We're seeing this guy. Well, he's pretty good. He's athletic. He's long. The thing everyone else sees, and then all of a sudden you start noticing that he's getting there early to work on his game. He's got a seriousness about his work ethic. He's got a discipline about his work ethic. He's doing stuff afterwards. He's asking managers to shoot, and not like in a, hey, I just want to post this on Twitter kind of way.
Yeah.
He just in that's what he does, and frustration with losing and frustration with missing shots and staying afterwards and working on it. Just really a mature approach to it. He likes to have fun. He likes to be around his teammates. He laughs, but he's got a seriousness of focus in what he's doing that for a freshman, we're talking, 2 years ago, his summer before his freshman year, he had a nice seriousness about him that was a focus, that was that work ethic that just day in, day out. And then he was fortunate that there was a tremendous playing time opportunity for him. He got to play a lot. There were games where he'd go 0 for 4 as a freshman, and he'd still play. And the reason Coach Passner kept playing him was because of his motor. Everyone talked about his defense, and he'll rebound and defend and do some things. So he kept playing, and he was able to play through some mistakes and improve. And every one of those struggles or opportunities to learn, he took full advantage of.
Now, you talk about even when Josh wasn't making shots, he was able to stay on the court because of his defense. That's actually a huge problem, I think, in the modern-day basketball right now. If you're not hitting your shots, that kind of affects your defense, and that's not what Josh let happen to him. So let's talk about this. Only special players have that ability to make others around him work harder, and Josh was able to do that. Why do you think he had this effect on his teammates?
Because high care factor. He cared about winning. He cared about his team. He cared selfless. Just really from going back to sort of fundamental core characteristic attitudes about who he is as a person, like genuinely selfless, wanting to be a good teammate, willing to have a hard and also there's a maturity to knowing the difference between a teammate and a friend. He doesn't just want to be liked. He has a maturity about him where he didn't just need his new teammates to like him. Like, gosh, I hope my guys like me. He wanted to win, and he wanted to be a good teammate, and he learned. And we talked about it. It wasn't like, he figured it out in a vacuum, but it would give him a lot of credit for sort of taking it in and, like, realizing that, like, winning's important to me and being good's important to me, so I'll have a hard conversation with a teammate. I'll get on a teammate who I need to get on, or I'll rebound for a teammate. Just selfless stuff like that. And then you put in the work. If you're selfless and you work hard, your teammates will respect you and you'll raise their level. And basketball wise, just his ability, his desire to rebound and go, and guys just like him, so he's fun to play with, and it just worked out really well.
So I just wanted to talk a little about how Josh was, able to adjust to Josh's Pastner's system and still put up impressive numbers, and how important it is to be able to listen in basketball and learn on the fly at this level, because now he's going to be working with Tom Thibodeau. So this is going to be two coaches that are, different. So talk about how important it is to be able to learn on the fly at this level.
Great question. And I think his coachability is a big key component of his success, because he got here and we hit the ground running here, and we're coaching at a mile a minute. Coach Pastner's just full of energy and going, and it doesn't, what we were doing and how we doesn't always make sense. And Josh's ability to just go with it, just yes sir, no. He's a yes sir, no sir guy. And I could tell at times Coach would get on him and coach him hard, and he'd be yes sir, yes sir. Even at times maybe when he didn't understand things. And that ability to trust, so often a player, it makes it really challenging for a coach to earn his trust. Well, he's, again, not a lot of ego there, so he's confident young man, but he's selfless enough that he'll trust the coach and listen. And Coach Thibodeau is going to require certain things and coach them hard. And trust me, I can tell they did their homework. And Josh Okogie can be coached hard. He can learn on the fly. He's fully engaged, and so his ability to adjust to coaches. He's not one of those guys that you're trying to thread a needle with in how you coach them. Sometimes guys, are like you've got to coach them a certain way. If you coach them, you got to coach them this way or that way. Josh isn't like that. He's not a sensitive kid in the sense of how you get it. He wants to get better. We're on the same team. He's actually, for lack of a better word, he's a pro's pro. At a young age. He's a guy that's going to be, he wants to be coached like a big boy and coached. He doesn't need his hand held. He doesn't need a ribbon for participating. He wants to be coached and he wants to get better.
Now, when I watched Josh at Georgia Tech and in the summer league, I can't help myself but see some Jimmy Butler in him. They're both kind of similar players, both play their butts off on both ends, not big-time recruits in high school. How do you think Jimmy will help Josh grow as a player?
I think, someone that's similar like that, and someone that's got a work ethic and is good to, that's willing to spend time with Josh, he'll learn a ton from. He'll just, and if the coaches have an example that they can point to and sets from a basketball and from a cultural standpoint, sets the tone, Josh will really take to it. Josh wants to be good, but he wants to be a good teammate. He wants to whatever it is, he gets it that like there's more. It's a lot more enjoyable for everyone when we're having success together, and he gets that. And I think being in an environment where everyone's on the same page like that, and he's a part of that and can contribute. But there's a new culture and there's different ways of doing things, and there's more of a 24/7 approach maybe in terms of, he doesn't have to go to his calculus class, up there, and he's got some things to focus on. So he'll learn, and he's just open-minded to learning. He's a little thick-headed on some things, like a basketball player would be in terms of his game and stuff, but in terms of his approach and his rehab and his strength training and even reading defenses or some sort of strategic piece like that, he'll be open-minded and learn a ton.
Now, Josh finished 4th in the AC in scoring. So for the Timberwolves fans, including myself, tell me what we're getting in a player like Josh Okogie.
You're getting someone that I think is going to be a long-time pro that is going to continue to surprise. It'll be an interesting and exciting first year for him to see how quickly he can go up that curve. If Josh Okogie was a stock, I'd be investing heavily like the Timberwolves have. And I think it makes all the sense in the world because the potential, the numbers he put up at the combine physically and how hard he played, and his ability to shoot the ball, his skill set is very solid and just improving. Like, he improved his NBA 3 this spring. So like when our season ended, he started working on this stuff for workouts and whatnot.
Yep.
And 6 weeks later in the gym, his ability to shoot an NBA 3 improved. He's a better shooter right now than he was 2 months ago. And so I think he's just going to continue to improve like that. And so what I'm trying to say is I think I urge a little patience, I mean,
yes.
But he's a guy that's just the trust the process type guy that he's really going to take advantage of the opportunity that he's going to see it as an opportunity and take full advantage of it. So you should be excited. And
he's going to be able to play early on. I think him and Bates Diop, I think, are both going to be able to play early on. I mean, this is a team that lost some pieces on the bench from last year, so I think Josh can step in and play immediately. So last one here. You just talked about Josh and improving his shooting. His catch and shoot numbers were really good. How do you think his jump shot will translate into the NBA?
I think it'll translate well. I think his first step, his drive, his ability to attack the rim will give him some. People will have to respect that, I think, a little bit. And I'm cautious in my statement because I know the NBA is elite, but ACC has these situations that are very similar or close as college can be, at least, to the NBA, the best of the best. And his ability to attack off the dribble will create that ability to have that space necessary, and he doesn't need a lot of space. He elevates well. He's very good on his pull-up and a little bit of a fade. If anything will be interesting to see, and he's worked a lot on this and it continues to improve, is his finishing around the rim, finishing around the basket, and attacking and getting fouled. He actually, I was looking at it this morning, he actually led the ACC in fouls drawn per 40 minutes of play. He got fouled, and so I'm excited. Hopefully I think that'll translate too. But the NBA size and speed and everything, attacking and finishing around the rim and getting fouled, he's a very complete game and very balanced. I think you're right. I think the jump shot will be a key piece, and I'm optimistic that'll translate.
Coach, I really appreciate you coming on. Good luck this upcoming season. I'll be rooting for you guys.
Yeah, well, you've got some fans down here now, so we'll be rooting for Timberwolves as well. So thanks for having me on.
All right, so I'm recording this on a Thursday, so I know the Vikings will be playing the Jaguars on Saturday. This comes out on a Sunday. But I just want to quickly talk about the first preseason game, the Vikings versus the Broncos. I mean, if this couldn't have been a better little preview than we saw on Saturday night. Kirk Cousins goes 4 for 4, 42 yards, throws an absolute. I mean, the ball he threw to Stephon Diggs. I mean, it just had to make you excited. I mean, I was on my